Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I know you've missed me for this 3 days, but I'm back at it and back to a video a day from here on out. And today I want to do something a little special. Usually when I do my energy updates for the full and the new moon, I do them solely for Patreon. But today I want to do it for both Patreon and YouTube. And usually when I start my energy updates, I start them with my Tarot Andean Oracle cards. But we're not doing that today because there is some collective energy experience that needs to be addressed. That not only is affecting us right now, but affects us all the time. First of all, once again, welcome back to my channel. In general, I'm Ann Blackwood, your Silicon Valley Sage Sister, here to bring consciousness to the forefront of your daily life to make life a little kinder and simpler. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of the Tarot tradition, it is a sacred South American tradition based in Peru mostly, and that's part of why they call it the Andean tradition, because the Tarot are a people who were originally associated with the Inca, and they fled up into the mountains and did not come back down until the 1970s, if I'm remembering that correctly. So this tribe of people in the Andean mountains of Peru did not have contact with the outside world, were one of the few tribes left in the world as of the 70s who had not experienced any amount of being conquered by the European world. And I have been privileged to have my very own Paco mentor from the Tarot tradition. And so why I bring this up is because one of the things that we do in the Tarot tradition when it comes to ritual we perform is something called a karpai. And that includes something we call a despacho. Now, that so much is not important as the end of this ritual is what I want to talk about today. Because at the end of these rituals, we always talk about the fact that whenever you're starting a new journey in life, whenever you're trying to change, you are going to have those knocks at the door from the old ways, from the universe, God, source, spirit, cosmic consciousness, whatever you believe in. It is going to be knocking at your door, asking you, testing you, are you really ready to change? And it sends our old habits, our old ways, our bad habits, all the things that we are trying to let go of, it sends those back to our front door. Knock, knock, knock. Hi, we're here again. Please let us in. But what we remind ourselves of every time we perform these rituals is that you don't have to answer those knocks at the door. They will come anytime you're trying to change, anytime you're trying to change anything. Anytime you're trying to let go of anything, the universe is going to send it back to you and say, hey, are you sure you meant to let go of this? And you have to not only be sure, you have to be so sure that you're not even going to open the door to find out. And this goes for anything we're trying to let go of, get rid of, good habits, bad habits. Oh, well, usually we don't try to let go of our good habits. Old habits, bad habits, was what I meant to say. See, this is what I get for taking 3 days off. Right now, and I've felt this a lot recently, but especially in the last month and a half, 2 months, in the collective energy. So much so that I felt like something had to be said, because even I am starting to experience it. And I like to pride myself on being one who is pretty good at, once I've decided to let go of something, not answering that knock at the door, and certainly not inviting it back in. And even I have been feeling some of those old, bad, more egotistical, not so spiritual temptations knocking at my door. And I have been doing my best not to answer, but it is hard for us right now. It is really hard, and we have to do our best not to give in, because it's so easy to give in. We as humans, we will do whatever it takes to avoid pain, and so much so that we will do more to avoid the pain than we will to pursue the pleasure, even if that means learning to be comfortable with certain types of pain to avoid what we perceive as the worst types of pain. And it is so easy to give in, and it is so easy to fall back on those old ways, on those old habits that you know aren't good for you. You know it, you know it, you know it, you know it. Not only do you know what's not good for you, but you know what you're supposed to be doing instead. And the problem is that often we'll even do things like give in to the laziness and excuse it. I see people do this a lot, where in the name of self-care being the excuse, they will allow themselves to be lazy rather than push themselves towards what they know is better for them, what they know would be healthier for them. They know. Because here's the thing, when it comes to love, when it comes to true love for ourselves, for others, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is push someone. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is not accept what's happening and instead push someone in the other direction. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself or anyone else is not be tolerant. And it's so easy to give in, especially when it's ourselves. When we're trying to take care of ourselves, we'll be like, oh, well, I can do it tomorrow. Oh, well, it doesn't quite feel right now. So in the name of self-care, I'm just not going to do it. I know how easy it is to fall into that trap. Just this very weekend, I got a taste of what a real self-care moment looked like. And let me tell you, it made me look back on a couple weeks ago, where I had given myself a day or a moment of self-care and was like, that wasn't the time. This was the time. If there was ever a time I needed to slow down and actually give myself a break, it was this weekend. And it made all the other moments where I had excused my laziness in the name of self-care, it made them pale in comparison. Where I looked back and been like, yeah, I should have just pushed myself. We know this. We know we do this. Because it's so easy to be lazy. It's so easy to be lazy. It's so easy to give into all of those bad, earthly, human habits that we can form, being a lower vibrational form of ourselves. And that being said, there is a difference between being a lower vibrational form of yourself and the negative emotions on the vibration scale. Because that's something else I experienced this weekend. But I invited in the negative vibration emotions of sadness, for instance. I invited it in to heal, because there is a difference between allowing the negative vibration emotions in to help you heal for a moment versus lowering your vibration as a whole with the petty things like greed, vanity, being petty. So I want to just remind us all that the universe is testing us right now. It is knocking at each and every one of our doors and asking us, through all of those things that we're trying to let go of for the good of our own sake, it's offering those back up to us and saying, are you sure? Are you sure you're ready to let go of this? Are you sure you're done with this? And trust me, you need to be sure. You need to be sure. And you know what it is inside of you that you need to be doing to be sure. And you've just got to listen to that. Push yourself just a little bit more out of love, because that is okay too. It is so easy to fall into the trap right now that so many people offer up when it comes to being lazy and not pushing yourself in the name of self-care. But don't fall for it. There are times when it is just as loving to push yourself. And you'll know when. You'll know when. Whatever you do, start taking note of all of those little things, all of those little bad habits, all of those little petty things that you're doing that, like me, you maybe thought you weren't even capable of doing anymore, or at least certainly thought it would be hard for you to do them. Or maybe they're things that you've just recently started trying to let go of. Start noticing them. What are those old habits? What are those bad habits? What are those old and bad ways that you are trying desperately not to have in your life right now, that are trying to creep their way back in, or have managed to creep back in? Start taking note of that, because the universe, it's testing us right now, and it's making it so easy to give into them. But you can't do it. You can't do it. You need to stay strong. And you do. You know what to do. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me for another video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out the link. Whoa! Ah! Don't forget to check out the links in the description, which includes Patreon, where these energy updates usually are only available if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not sure what it is, if you're having a hard time right now, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I have many different ways in which I work with my clients, including Patreon, where I have all sorts of amazing self-study courses, mini-series, one-off videos, meditations, guided meditations, journal exercises, and then some. I also have available a once-a-month session with me attached to everything my Patreon has to offer, with the enlightening tier that I have available over there, as well as I have 5 spots available right now for one-on-one clients. So if you're ready, if you're really ready to heal, grow, and expand your consciousness, I'm here for that. And all you have to do is either sign up for a free clarity call, which I will be retiring my free clarity call after these 5 spots fill up. And you can always email me at the email provided in the description. All right, guys, may the energies you serve always serve you well. And let's keep making our way through.